You have just tapped into the Christian Life Coach Collective, and I'm your host, Laura Malone. I'm here to equip and encourage coaches in skills, business, personal life, and faith. I believe you're already 100% worthy and capable, and you're called for such a time as this. So let's get you walking it out with courage and confidence so you can be an amazing coach who sees transformation and great results in both your life and the lives around you. Let's get started. Myth number 3, coaching is like therapy, but better. All right, the idea that coaching is like therapy, I understand where it comes from, but I want to clear it up once and for all. They're so totally not the same thing. Here's the sameness about it. Coaches have clients, therapists or counselors have clients or patients. That's it. So both of them support like your personal growth, and they both have distinct purposes and boundaries, but it is really important for every coach to understand how to serve your clients ethically and be effective. And it begins with understanding the difference between coaching and therapy. Therapy often focuses on healing from the past and addresses trauma, mental health challenges, deep emotional wounds, right? Coaches, on the other hand, focus on the present and the going into the future. Coaching is about setting goals, creating actionable strategies, and helping a client move forward. I think you might have heard me say this before, whether you're a client or a student of mine or just a podcast listener, that I look at therapy and counseling like picking up my baggage, throwing it on the bed, opening it up and going, what is in here and how did it get there? And do I want to keep it? Coaching is like, I got a new piece of luggage, not baggage. I have a new piece of luggage. It's empty. I'm going to put it on the bed and decide what do I need to put in it to go where I've decided to go. So it's very crucial to understand this difference so you can stay within your scope of practice as a coach and not do anything that's considered therapeutic work without proper training, which can do more harm than good, both for your client and for your confidence and practice as a coach. So let's talk about this common scenario where you might be working with a client who starts talking about childhood trauma. They have never really felt safe talking to anybody else about this, and then they found you. They don't even know the depth of the healing that they need. They don't even know what kind of emotions are about to erupt. They want somebody to help them. As a coach, you want to help, but it doesn't take very long before you start feeling like, whoa, I'm out of my depth and definitely outside of my contract. And I'm not trained to handle this emotional complexity that is arising in my sessions. And I don't know how to move forward with this client. That's where your boundaries come into play, because you need to recognize, when does a client need therapy instead of coaching? It's one of the most important skills you can develop as a coach, but it's also one of the most important skills that you can develop as a business owner. A coaching business owner. The revelation of this doesn't necessarily begin in session number 4 or even 15. You being able to determine before you take on a client, is this person asking me for coaching, or are they looking for counseling? Or are they looking for a consultant? Right? Understanding when somebody does a consultation with you or in your marketing, in your content creation, really being clear about what coaching is and what it isn't will help you get the people who are ready for coaching. So you want to help, but you can only help so far. And it's your ethical responsibility as a coach to know when to refer out. So there might be a therapist they need to see or another type of professional who is licensed to handle what it is they're experiencing and what they really need help in. So a good rule of thumb is that if their challenges involve unresolved trauma, mental health concerns, or anything that's requiring some deeper emotional healing, it's really time to refer them out, okay? I say unresolved trauma because I'm trauma informed in my coaching. I understand how your trauma may affect your ability to consistently show up and do the work to move forward that we're talking about in coaching. I understand how trauma has impacted you. So I can coach you forward into the results that you want to create, understanding that some of the things that you face that are hindrances, some of the lies you believe, some of the negative, harmful thought patterns that you have, I understand how they can stem from trauma. But I am not going to help you resolve that trauma that you've not dealt with. I'm going to refer you out. I may need to say that in order to do this work of coaching into this future-oriented goal, I suggest you go see a therapist who helps you with this unresolved trauma or a mental health concern that I am not trained to help you with. Even if I understand depression, anxiety, things like that, I can understand it. I can help you change thought processes and mindsets about it. But there are other areas where I am not trained, nor am I licensed to help you deal with a mental health concern that is deeper than I understand. And how can I help you move forward, understanding where you're at, right? Same thing, this deep emotional healing that you need from wounds that you need to dive into, you need to debrief about. All of those things, I can only let it go so far, and then I'm able to recognize and say, and this is like verbatim, you can say this to your client if you recognize you've gotten to a place where they're sharing information that it helps you to understand you need to refer them out. You know what? I believe that what you're talking about and what you're needing right now is outside of the scope of my coaching capacity and my contract with you to coach you in X, Y, and Z. I think that it would be really beneficial to you to seek out a therapist and talk about this over here, this A, B, and C that I am not able to serve you well in. It is outside of the scope of coaching. And I think dealing with that will help you do the work inside of coaching more effectively and more beneficial to your future when you go work with somebody to resolve this. Or I might say, I would like to refer you to someone who can help you process that. But I'm also going to help us keep our focus on what we're doing coaching on. I understand that that trauma happened in your life, and I see that you've done some work, you've resolved some of it, you've healed, but it's also still impacting you. And I can keep coaching you in this area over here, understanding how that trauma or that emotional wound has impacted you, but I'm unable to counsel you through that trauma or wounding. So there's two ways where I can see sometimes they just get off track and they go into some other, down a different path that says, okay, this person's listening to me. Coach Laura is here. I've never had anybody listen to me like this. I really want to work with her. I wish she was my counselor. I wish she took my insurance, right? Sometimes they're just going down a path and because it rose up for them and I have to redirect and say, well, we can't go down that path because I believe that's a counseling issue that you need to work with somebody on. let's stay over here on what you hired me to help you do. And then other times I say, this work that you need to get done without going down this path and dealing with this trauma, I don't think that we can do the coaching towards this result that you want to create, because this result is directly impacted and hindered by this trauma. I want to refer you out. And then when you have gone through that and your counselor believes that it's time to step into coaching to create these results over here, please, let's get back together and have another session to talk about where you are. Okay? You have to navigate staying in your own lane. And I think that it's possible to do more when you understand the very clear differences between coaching and counseling, coaching and therapy. So you have to be very clear in your marketing, in your content, and in your consultations about your role as a coach, that your focus is on a forward movement, future-oriented, actionable strategies with your clients. So you're there to empower them to achieve goals, not to process the past. If they start sharing something that's outside your scope, just gently guide the conversation back to your coaching agenda. And then, if necessary, recommend that they explore therapy alongside or before coaching. And it is perfectly okay. And often it's really necessary for clients to work with both a therapist and a coach. What's even more awesome is if you are working with people locally and you can find a therapist that is willing to work with you, interested in working with you as a coach that they refer clients to, who, when they are working with them and they see that their client or their patient is wanting to create future results, that they could refer that person to you, and you could refer people who need a therapist back to them. And that is a pretty awesome working relationship. If you don't have somebody local, that I highly recommend creating your own referral sheet so that you can have on hand some different links that you can send your clients when you do want to refer them out that, are online, or maybe you want to do a little work and find somebody that you would recommend in their area. It depends on how far you want to go down that road. Just sometimes somebody won't take any action if it's not easy for them to do. It was probably hard enough for them to hire you as a coach. And then if you're referring them out and saying you need a counselor, some people will just drop it. But if you send them a link and say, check this out, check these people out, click here, check that out, it might be easier for them to take this little action. So my challenge for the week is to develop a referral list of therapists, counselors, or other professionals in your area or online, okay? Reach out to them and maybe establish a connection so you're prepared when a client needs support beyond your coaching. That very small step can make a really huge difference in how you serve your clients, both ethically and with confidence. So I want to wrap this up with a reminder. Coaching and therapy are both valuable, but they're not interchangeable. A therapist or a counselor can choose to coach their clients, but a coach cannot choose to counsel their clients. That is where the line is drawn, is that therapists are actually trained, degreed, and licensed to become a therapist. And so you can be a coach and help somebody create an actionable strategy, but you don't cross the line into therapy, okay? So embrace the power of coaching to really focus on that client and in their today and how their today will impact the future they want to create, and then drive the car forward. But respect the boundaries of therapy. When you stay in your lane, you're not only serving them better and actually getting them the results that you said you could help them create, you're also elevating the entire coaching profession because we're staying in our lanes, right? So let's leave the myth behind that coaching is like therapy, or that coaching is better than therapy. Because I know there's people out there like that. I don't think so. I think therapy is awesome. I think therapy is for everybody. It's not just to solve problems we already know we have. I think therapy helps to mitigate and prevent problems as well. And I think everybody should have some form of counseling and therapy at different seasons of their life. And then I think everybody should have a coach, because I think all of us have results we want to create. Everybody needs a guide and somebody to hold space, somebody to listen, somebody to help develop the strategies and figure out what steps to take and help us to really have clarity and confidence and accountability in getting it done, right? So I think that you've got this. I think that you can at least develop 3 online links, like to, I'm not going to say what they are. You know what they are. You can find them. You could Google, you could go on ChatGPT, you can ask your friends, where do people go for online therapy? Like, what are the best of the best out there? What lines up with the people you would work with? What would be a company or a group of therapists and counselors that would align with the people who you're going to meet and work with? And then cultivate just a list of 3 today. Don't even have the pressure that you're going to share it with anybody yet. But you know that you've taken some action to start developing that list, and you know that you are equipped. If you ever do need to refer somebody out, you're ready to do it. So, all right, I'm going to talk to you next week about myth number 4. And it's kind of an add-on to this one about coaching isn't therapy and coaching is not teaching or giving advice. So let's talk about that next week. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Thanks for listening. For more coaching resources and to learn how to work with me, head to sterlingandstonementoring.com or click the link in the show notes. Remember, walk boldly in your calling, and I'll talk to you next time.